Hi team, my name is Taylor Owens, previously Taylor Noonan, and I swam for USD from 2011 until 2015, and it was one of the most awesome experiences, and I'm super stoked for you guys that you guys are experiencing that now, and I can just truly say that your teammates are going to be some of your best friends in the world, and the lessons that you learn from your coaches, they're going to follow you the rest of your life. And I'm really thankful for Coach Mike and Coach Jax for creating a space where we can talk about some pretty tough issues, and a lot of chaos is facing our country right now, and we want to figure out how we can be helpful, right? We want to figure out how we can learn and be helpful, and I hope that this conversation is fruitful for you. So first, I'm just going to talk a little bit about law and the consumption of media. And then I'm going to talk about my experience living here in Italy and how I see racism kind of as prevalent throughout the entire world. And then I'm going to talk about some resources that my husband and I have been exploring to try to understand more about this issue. So first, I see a lot of things through the lens of law. My husband and I are both attorneys, and we're currently living in Naples, Italy. My husband is an attorney for the Navy. And so that's kind of how we see the world, and that's how we process information. So first, I just wanted to talk about the consumption of media and how we can be wise consumers. So with all of these just very visceral attacks happening on both sides, we see political polarization play a huge role in our country right now. And amidst such really sad things such as coronavirus and then the death of our African American fellow citizens. And I think that it's really important to first, when you see a piece of news, pause, read, reflect, take a moment to really understand what the article is saying. But don't just read that article. There have been so many times in these past few weeks where I'll read one media source and I'll have a very emotional reaction. And then when I do my research, I find a few more facts. So surrounding the cases that have happened, I'm just going to give you an idea of how I process information that really helps me from a legal standpoint. So first, Breonna Lewis. It is just, I want to start out by saying just the deaths of these people just breaks my heart, right? It's so needless. It doesn't need to happen. But let's look at it logically so that we can move forward and so that this doesn't happen again. So Breonna Lewis, a police officer, was using a no-knock warrant. Don't get your information from Instagram as to what that means or how that should be interpreted. Look to the law. Look to what a no-knock warrant means in that state and in that particular county. And try to understand so that when you communicate, you can add something helpful to the conversation. Because what I see right now a lot on Instagram is like, and just in social media in general, is like we're all appalled by these events, right? Like they're tragic. They're tragic. There is no other way. We want to stop it. But how do we add to the conversation so that we can actually be helpful? So look to the law. Go research. What is a no-knock warrant? Is that valid? Do I think it should be applied in this situation? What is the situation? What is the context? Really dig. When we're talking about Ahmaud Arbery, it all is surrounding a citizen's arrest. What does that mean? What is a citizen's arrest? What is a valid citizen's arrest in that state? That is what we need to be looking at so that we can best figure out how to move forward, because all of these ridiculous things keep happening and we need to be equipped. And finally, with George Floyd, his tragic death, that if you've seen the video, I mean, you can't not have an emotional reaction. I barely could watch it. It just brought so much... it broke my heart, right? And I don't think anyone is justifying that police officer's actions anywhere ever. Because as a wise consumer of media and as a person who wants to learn, first, look at what police maneuvers are even legal in that county. We know that that one hasn't been used since, I believe, 2016. It's been off the books. So knowing that is really important. Knowing that police officers training, that plays a huge role in how our justice system is implemented in society at large, right? And then now everyone's discussing second-degree murder, third-degree murder, first-degree murder. What does that mean? I've seen a lot of confused people regarding what the degrees of murder mean and what the context of it is. And I could see how you would be so emotional and react when you're trying to understand the law. But I would just encourage you, because I know you're all super smart and you guys want to know and want to help, I would encourage you to look for the justice where it actually is and look to the law. Because just a brief history, I know that we've all learned in history class about the terrible slavery that inflicted our country for many, many years. Then we had the Civil War, where slavery was abolished, right? Then we had the Reconstruction era. Ever since the Reconstruction era, we've had laws that slowly progress to more equality for our African American brothers and sisters in our country. However, is the work done? No, it's not done. So we need to know our history before we move forward. I'm just going to drop a few cases. I don't know if you're nerding out, but if you do, read Plessy versus Ferguson, Brown v. Board. Try to learn about those equal protection cases, because they don't just even apply to African Americans. They apply to them as well as minorities, as well as women. It's really important if you're trying to learn the law to go there. But I just wanted to say that it's really easy to ingest and emotionally become charged, but I just encourage you to make actual change. We can't just be a echo chamber of each other where we're like, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Yes, it's wrong. What are we gonna do about it? What are we gonna do? Because we need to do something, right? So I would just encourage you to be smart about research, smart about ingesting information, and then add to the conversation. Second, I just want to talk about my Italy experience. I'm in Naples, Italy right now, and I said that before, but we're traveling a lot, and I just want to say racism is not confined to the United States. It is a heart condition, and I see racism in so many areas in Europe, and I think it's really easy in America to idealize Europe as if Europe doesn't have problems. No. It can be really bad. And one way that I see it in such a heartbreaking way is I'm really passionate about eventually eradicating human trafficking. Human trafficking is modern day slavery where people are sold for sex or for labor around the world. It's a very prevalent problem, and it is really a problem where I live here in Naples, Italy. And the reason for that is that prostitution is legal in Italy. And thus the justice system in Italy has a hard time defining or differentiating between human trafficking and prostitution. So the result of that is many women are trafficked from Nigeria and Eastern Europe here into Naples. And the overt racism is simply in the fact that even the price for them is, for an Eastern European white woman, she is more expensive than a darker colored Nigerian. And that is just shocking to the conscience on so many levels, right? Like, number one, these poor people are taken from their homes and trafficked to Italy. And number two, that they would be differentiated based on sex, like sex and race. Like, what in the world? It's crazy. It's a heart condition. And it's not isolated to any one area. And we see it in so many different minorities. I mean, right now we want to listen to our African American brothers and sisters who are telling us of the injustice that they feel. And we want to understand that. And they are the forefront right now. But we also want to understand other minorities and other issues. And there's so many issues in the world. And they all come down to a heart that we need to seek justice, and we need to work out our own hearts before we can even make a difference in our community. And so that kind of leads me to my third point. And what are we doing? What are we doing to learn, to listen? My husband and I have really been trying to just pause, reflect, and listen. And listen is such a buzzword right now, but it really is the groundwork for moving forward. And we actually, my husband especially, he has a lot of guys that he trusts, his friends that really know his heart, and they are African American, and he has reached out to them, and he has just asked, like, what can we do? We have this privilege, like, how can we contribute to society? How can we respect and love you better? And I think that comes down to it is that we need to love and respect our fellow brothers and sisters. Like, it's just ridiculous that they would even feel any sort of that we would make them feel that way, or that the society or the system would make them feel unloved, because our job is to love and respect, right? So I think that listening, having the conversations, I think that's the heart work. And I would also just offer a few like resources that I've really enjoyed, especially because I nerd out with law. But Just Mercy by Brian Stevenson, it's a book and it's a movie, and right now it's a free movie in the United States. They've literally made it free so everyone can watch it right now amidst all of this stuff going on. But it really captures well the story of Walter McMillan. And he was charged unjustly for a crime that he did not commit. And his lawyer, Brian Stevenson, he shares the whole story of his case and many other cases. So it's truly an amazing story, and I really encourage you. And also, I've watched The Innocence Files on Netflix. Some of it's pretty hard to watch, especially the first 2 episodes. I'm just warning you. It can be really graphic. It can be really bad. It's hard to watch. But if you're interested in our criminal justice system and wanting to understand the current dilemmas, it's important to gather that information. And last, I just want to share also that you're at a Catholic institution, and I don't know your religious background, but as a Christian, I'm called to love others, and I believe that my God shows no partiality, and that's what it says in the Bible. We need to love and respect, and we need to do a better job. So I just wanted to encourage you guys and to say, let's get to work. Let's make this happen, and let's make change that's actually sustainable and that will continue even beyond us.